We all know that from time to time, wrestlers have appeared in video games outside of the regular WWE-related ones. But here's the thing, when they do appear, they're usually playing either themselves or a version of a character that doesn't come with all of the trimmings of being a wrestler. However, in some certain instances, they still bust out their signature moves and it pops the boys from here to Kingdom Come. So let's take a look at them today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 9 times that wrestlers use their finishing moves in video games. Number 9. The Rock, Spy Hunter, Nowhere to Run. 2006's action racer Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run starred The Rock as a government agent called Alex Decker, and because it'd be criminal to hire the WWE superstar to spend the entire game sat behind the wheel, it was the first and to date only game in the series that allowed players to get out of their beloved interceptor. Now, among the relatively basic beat-em-up attacks on offer, such as generic throws and suplexes, developers Terminal Reality couldn't resist but sneak The Rock's finishing move, the Rock Bottom, into this game. Once you've laid a sufficient smackdown on any faceless mook in the vicinity, Alex's special gauge will be filled, at which point you'll be prompted to press a face button in order to pull off the most iconic of iconic moves. You love to see it. Number 8. Rowdy Roddy Piper, Saints Row 4. Shortly before his untimely passing, Rowdy Roddy Piper made a cameo appearance in Volition's hysterical Saints Row 4, playing a small role in Keith David's nightmare simulation. In the hilarious mission He Lives, Piper and David reenact their iconic alleyway fight scene from the classic 1988 John Carpenter thriller They Live, with Piper beating the snot out of David in order to break his mind control. In a cutscene, we see Piper nailing David with numerous moves, including a clothesline, dropkick, inverted atomic drop, and a backbreaker, before putting him down with his real-life finishing move, the sleeper hold. As an extra Easter egg for wrestling fans, when the player approaches the ongoing fight, they'll be able to hear the faint sound of bagpipes, referencing Piper's iconic entrance theme and foreshadowing his imminent arrival. Absolutely brilliant. Number 7. Stone Cold, John Cena, The Undertaker, Triple H, and Roman Reigns in Family Guy: The Quest for Stuff. 2014's freemium mobile game Family Guy: The Quest for Stuff plays host to one of the most bizarre crossovers in video game history, bringing some of the WWE's most statuesque wrestlers and Roman Reigns to Quahog in the 2-week WrestleMania in Quahog event, where Peter trains to take on the giant chicken. Here you're able to play as Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, The Undertaker, Triple H, and Roman Reigns, and among the given tasks for each superstar is the instruction to execute their respective finishing moves: the Stone Cold Stunner, the Attitude Adjustment, the Tombstone Piledriver, the Pedigree, and the Big Dog, also known as the Spear. Despite how low effort this feat of cross-branding might seem, the animated finishes actually look surprisingly not terrible. So fair play, nice one. Number 6. Kazuchika Okada, Yakuza 6: The Song of Life. The stupendously entertaining Yakuza 6: The Song of Life capitalizes on the surging popularity of New Japan Pro Wrestling by having numerous prominent wrestlers of that promotion appear as scarcely fictionalized, playfully exaggerated versions of themselves. The game features appearances from the likes of Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, Satoshi Kojima, Tetsuya Naito, Toru Yano, and most amusingly, the great, the one, the only Kazuchika Okada. Though Okada and others can be fought in the Colosseum in Yakuza Kiwami 2, he appears in a beefier optional boss fight in Yakuza 6, where he doesn't just merely wail on you for a while in generic brawler fashion, but will occasionally pull out his in-ring finisher, the Rainmaker, if you get too close. And the fact that he came in to mocap this is just utterly brilliant, and god damn does it look like it stings when it connects. Number 5. Ronda Rousey, Mortal Kombat 11. In the most recent Mortal Kombat game, the iconic Sonya Blade was controversially voiced and somewhat modelled on MMA legend and former WWE superstar Ronda Rousey. In her short WWE stint, Rousey's signature move was a modified fireman's carry that she dubbed the Piper's Pit, in tribute to her inspiration, Rowdy Roddy Piper, which would usually serve as the setup for the armbar. Though Rousey didn't perform any mocap for the game, her moveset is nevertheless somewhat represented. One of Sonya's most brutal fatalities is effectively an R-rated version of the Piper's Pit, with Sonya rolling her opponent around, flinging them into the sky, and then shooting them repeatedly so that they eventually get thrown down onto the rotor blades of a hovering chopper. Gnarly. She didn't do this in real life, by the way. It was just the Piper's Pit bit at the beginning. She didn't have a chopper in the ring. I just feel like I need to clarify that in case somebody's just going to be like, that's not what she did. In somewhat realistic terms, players can also pull off a cartoonishly brutal version of Rousey's armbar, where she snaps her opponent's arm before fluidly getting to her feet and then stomping them in the face. Noish. Number 4. Minoru Suzuki, Tekken. Now, this is the thing, you might not know the influential mixed martial artist and wrestler known as Minoru Suzuki, but if you've played any of the Tekken games, you've absolutely seen him in action. From Tekken 3 onwards, Suzuki has provided both motion capture performances and consultancy for the series' inimitable character King, a masked professional wrestler. Though most of King's moves are pretty typical wrestling maneuvers such as a suplex and a DDT, he does nevertheless borrow a few moves from Suzuki's own repertoire. First and foremost, King's Jaguar driver is clearly inspired by Suzuki's own pile driver, albeit not Gotch style. And King's Dragon Sleeper is a sure nod to Suzuki's own signature sleeper hold. Though Suzuki's own likeness doesn't make it into the game, this is still an incredibly neat way to immortalize him. Number 3. Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, and Kofi Kingston, the King of Fighters All-Star. 2018's mobile beat-em-up RPG The King of Fighters All-Star announced a WWE crossover in 2020, which in fairness at least makes a little more sense than most other entries on this list. In most respects, this is pretty typical mobile fighting game fashion, but it's nevertheless mildly odd to see Seth Rollins perform the stomp on various King of Fighters characters. Other playable WWE stars include Becky Lynch and Kofi Kingston, and also some other wrestlers that have already appeared on this list: The Rock, John Cena, and The Undertaker. All 6 wrestlers have their iconic finishing moves in this game, which probably makes the half-hour install for this game somewhat worth it, even if you want to steer well clear of the usual mobile microtransactions nonsense that this game is utterly littered with. Number 2. Batista, Gears 5. When discussing who would play Gears of War's protagonist Marcus Phoenix in a live-action movie, Dave Bautista's name is often bandied around, and it's a piece of fan casting that he's actually enthusiastically embraced. This eventually led to Batista wrangling himself an appearance in the series' most recent game, Gears 5, as a multiplayer DLC character based on his WWE persona, Batista. Hilariously, Batista's execution move is in fact his WWE finisher, the Batista Bomb. But better than that though, Gears Batista doesn't merely stop at powerbombing his enemies into the ground, he explodes them into a bloody paste as they hit the floor. Due to the popularity of Batista's inclusion, an update was later released which allowed him to replace Marcus in the game's story mode, which is utterly fantastic. So when Gears finally does get a movie, Hollywood cannot forget how much we and he want Dave to be Marcus. And number 1, Ric Flair, Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 Uprising. And finally, we come to the nature boy himself, Ric Flair, who, believe it or not, appeared in Command & Conquer Red Alert 3's standalone expansion, Uprising. Flair is a hammy delight in the game's expectedly ridiculous FMV sequences, where he plays American soldier Commander Douglas Hill, alongside a bafflingly diverse cast including the likes of Malcolm McDowell, Gemma Atkinson, and Jamie Chung. But if you're wondering how a figure 4 leg lock factors into all of this, then you need only turn your attention to the game's thoroughly demented marketing campaign. Now, to be completely clear, Flair doesn't quite get down to any in-ring action in the game itself, but this is basically close enough. In several pre-release promos, Flair took part in a feud with a Soviet bear, the finale of which saw Flair slapping a damn figure 4 on the Rusky Teddy for the easy submission victory. God, what nature will do for money, eh? And there we go, my friends. Those were 9 times that wrestlers used their finishing moves in video games. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, that's Dice with a C, where I do all of my streaming outside of work. It'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to hit you with my own finishing move, which is to leave this list with a bit of mental positivity. I hope that you're doing well, my friend. I hope that you are treating yourself with love and respect, because you goddamn well deserve it, alright? And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. I want you to go out there and absolutely smash life and live a healthy and happy one while doing so. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.